let me ask you a question. How are you doing? How are you really doing? We are 9 months into this global pandemic, and I know it has impacted every single person differently. This has become maybe your new normal. Maybe you haven't checked in for a while and given yourself permission to really ask, how am I doing? Am I thriving? Am I struggling? Have I struggling maybe with some depression or some anxiety? I was recently gifted this wonderful book that I think applies so much to our lives right now, and it's called The Choice, and it's a memoir by Dr. Edith Eva Eger. Dr. Edith is a Holocaust survivor, and I don't even think any of us can imagine the atrocities that she witnessed inside of her life, and she was taken to a concentration camp when she was just 16 years old, and spent over a year inside just this awful, awful place that had some lifelong impacts, obviously, on her. She lost her parents, she lost most of her family. And she writes this memoir not to compare our circumstances, not to compare what you faced in your lifetime or what I faced in my lifetime, but to really look at ourselves and ask the question, where are we holding ourselves, and where are we prisoners inside our own minds? She has gone on to become a world-renowned psychologist and speaker, and teaches on the power of resiliency and how to overcome anything that we've really created where we are prisoners in our own mind. If it's Holocaust, if it's a pandemic, if it's the loss of a parent or the loss of a relationship, no matter where you are, it's not to compare tragedies, not to compare circumstances, but to know that as long as we're hanging on to anger, to guilt, to resentment, we really are holding ourselves prisoners in our own mind. And as long as we're holding ourselves prisoners, we are not free to fully live our lives. And she offers so many incredible tools and stories, not only of her own life, but of clients that she has helped to really free themselves from that internal prison. This book is so appropriately called The Choice. And I love that title because that's ultimately what it comes down to. None of us created this global pandemic. None of us, we don't create tragedy in our life. But what we do create is our attitude. What we do have a choice about is what we're doing with our mindset, what we're doing with our mental activity. And that's ultimately our choice. And we can choose to be prisoners, or we can choose to set ourselves free. So what choice are you going to make today? What choice will you make to free yourself from any mental prison that you've been holding yourself hostage in? If you've read Man's Search for Meaning, another powerful book by Dr. Viktor Frankl, they really talk about the power of choice, the power of giving meaning to circumstances, and the difference between people who live thriving lives and overcome those tragedies is what they've done with their mindset and their focus on their vision, their focus on their goals, their focus on where are they going and what would they love to create. That ultimately can differentiate you living as a prisoner in your own mind or being free to live a life that you love. So how are you doing? And what choice are you making today? And choosing the right attitude is ultimately the first step in setting yourself free.